This is not a law firm. We're a marketing company that practices law.
Somebody comes into your office, they've seen your videos, they've read your reviews. There was a time before you didn't have all that stuff. What was it like then, and what's it like now that you've done all this and you've created all this goodwill in the community? There's probably people watching right now that are saying, yeah, this is all great, but I have to run a law firm. How did you structure your business and structure your firm so that you could focus on the working on the business rather than the working in the business?
I think the key to it, and I've got one word, and that is...
All right, welcome to the Law Firm Growth Acceleration Podcast. Today, I am with an attorney that I've known for a very long time, and it's actually somebody that I was just talking the other day about, not even about this podcast, but I was commenting that if I were an attorney with the marketing and business brain that I have, Kevin Hayslett is the attorney that I would be. So I've always kind of looked up to Kevin because of the fact that he's not just an attorney and a great lawyer, but he also has built a great business, and he doesn't think like the common attorney. And I think that's mostly why you're so successful. I mean, obviously being a great lawyer helps, but you do things differently. And I wanted to bring you on here because you just have a different way of looking at things. And you were even talking about, before we even started recording, your experience with virtual assistants. And can you talk about that a little bit? Because it's such a different way of looking at the world. And it's the same way I look at it. I love talking to people like that.
So, I mean, without offending Americans, part of the issue has been, and I say that genuinely, Andy, because you've got to be careful, and I'm not trying to offend folks, but one of the things that's happened because of the previous administration that we've experienced is inflation. And inflation has affected all of us. It's affected everything, in the price of groceries, to the price of real estate, to the price of anything, making it very unaffordable. But from a small business owner, and a small business owner is the lifeblood of this country, the difficulty is ability to hire workers. And one of the things that, if you're going to do a practice that is very worker intensive, you got to think outside the box. So how do you do that? You lean into AI, and I want to talk about that because I'm all in. Look into other ways to get folks in, which is, for example, in my practice, I own the real estate that we practice in. And if you're paying for the real estate Monday through Friday, my question is, how do I use it after 5? How do I use it on the weekends? Is there another stream of income where I can bring another team in? How do you do that? How do you explore that? How does it work? And the other question is, how to use a call center, how to use folks outside the country that are in a place where it is very difficult for them to get paid well, but that pay scale is less than what a US worker would do. And do they have the skill set to do it? So I leaned in, I went to South America. I found a worker. It's like patient one. I started with worker one.
Yep.
And I hired that worker, and I paid them money. And I found out after 3 weeks that they had 6 jobs, and they weren't doing, and I lost a lot of money. So, but I found that I learn a lot more in mistakes than I do in successes.
Yeah.
And I know, I think you said that before, and I've certainly heard you say it before, but I also want to learn. I want to touch the stove, learn that it's hot, and learn not to do it again. So I have now into this 18 months, maybe 20 months, and we're now, I think we're at a 15 full-time, virtual assistants, and it's worked out very, very, very well.
It's so crazy with virtual assistant. We actually, I don't know if you know this or not, Kevin, we own a virtual assistant company called Attorney Assistant. And we've got hundreds and hundreds of, we have some firms that work with us that have over 100 VAs just working for them, and the crazy part, it's like you said, it's, honestly, here's the crazy part. The crazy part to me is that I've found that virtual assistants are incredibly appreciative of the job.
100%.
And like, I have a virtual assistant that's worked with us since 2013, right? It's 2015 right now. So she's worked since 2013. On my birthday, she sent me, like, she's like a character artist. She's actually sent me characters like of my entire family and stuff to celebrate my birthday. And like, her and her boyfriend and her roommate would basically bake a cake that said "Happy Birthday, Andy" on it, and like they'd all wear like party hats and send pictures. And it's crazy. It's like, and the thing about it is that they're so appreciative of the job, that it's unbelievable, and they do an amazing job. Like, but what you said is that you did it once, you touched the stove, you got burned. and I'm sure that you learn lots of lessons. But a lot of times, what happens is people do something one time and they realize and they get burned and they're like, "Oh, I'm never doing that again," right? But what you realize and what I realize is that the way you learn how to do the thing is by doing the thing. You know, it's like you don't learn how to swim by sitting in a business class. You don't jump in the water and swim and feel like and, flail your arms and feel like you're going to drown, and then you learn how to swim.
So wait, are you saying that if I do one video and I don't get a million clients that I failed? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. But now, well, you know what? But
I'm
you said
teasing
you
you.
mentioned AI. AI, we can change that though. I can and like
Oh,
we're
I know,
gonna,
and now you're
yeah.
perfect on one take. It's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So you do a lot of really cool stuff, and I wish that we had time to talk about everything that you taught. I mean, like even the giveaway that you do, the pumpkin giveaway, right? But what I want to talk about is kind of like it's like you said, I think that what it really comes down to with you is that most lawyers view themselves as a lawyer first, and maybe they don't even view themselves as a business owner. But I believe that the difference is that you look at yourself as a business owner first that happens to own a law firm, and then that law firm, and then you also happen to be a lawyer. And tell me about that mindset. And did you always think like that, or did something force you to, or am I completely off out of bounds?
No, I always thought about that, and of course, I shocked everybody when this is probably 4 years ago. We're sitting around, and I explained to people. I said, "This is not a law firm,"
Hmm.
and they're like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "We do not have a law firm here. We're a marketing company that practices law."
Hmm.
I said, if you don't understand that, then you're not going to make it in the business. We're not
Yeah.
going to make it in the business. If you're not leaned into now it's AI, if you didn't lean into the internet, if you didn't lean into Google, if you didn't understand everything about GMB, if you don't know every minutia detail about GMB, you're leaving millions on the table, period.
Hmm.
And you need time to do that. Now, so my thought is if 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 people don't know, like, and trust me, then I'm like winking in the dark. I know I'm doing it, but nobody else knows that I am. And there's a lot of great lawyers out there that get great outcomes and do a great job for their client, but no one knows they exist. There are other mediocre lawyers that everybody knows their name, and the good lawyers go, well, that lawyer's not very good. Well, they're not very good, and you're better than them. The difference is they're better at marketing than you do. As soon as you take on the mantra that I'm a marketing company, then the rest will fall into place. But the same thing, it's like going to the gym for a week and going, why am I not, why don't I have a six pack? Why am I still 24% body fat? The answer is it takes a minute to do it. But as I always tell people, consistency wins over intensity. Consistency always wins over intensity. If you do it every day, it works. It just works, period.
Mhm. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I love the fact that it's not easy because it means most people will quit. Like
Correct.
that's the thing. If you just look at human nature and like what do most people want to do? Most people, including lawyers, no offense to everybody watching, most people, I mean, lawyers are human. They want to do the easy thing, and then the second it
Yes.
gets hard, they quit.
Yes.
So like, and I always say this: I am by I'm there's I'm there are millions of people out there that could get on camera and talk better than I can. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I just don't quit. I just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And eventually, when you do something over and over again, you start to at least kind of get good at it. You know, it's hard not to if you just do things over and over again. But there's something else I want to talk about. You said you're not a law firm, you're a marketing company that practices law. I've never heard a lawyer say that before or a law firm owner say that before, which is amazing. Now, I always talk about taking a step further where lawyers don't sell what they think they sell. They think they sell legal services, but lawyers actually sell results. You know, like your legal services are the deliverable that delivers the result. So how do you approach that in terms of like your mindset with what you guys actually sell for the firm?
Well, it's interesting because I'm going to take a twist on that. So you go about 10 years ago, Chick-fil-A and McDonald's sat around and they spent millions of dollars to find out what drives customers. They found out who their customer is, and most of the customer is a woman with her kids.
Mm,
And they found out it wasn't about best burgers. It wasn't about the price of the burgers. They found the number one thing that drove customers was cleanliness of bathrooms. Number one.
interesting.
Number one.
Huh.
When someone comes to see me, I do criminal defense. When someone comes to see me, they don't care where a lawyer went to law school. They don't care how many cases you've won. They don't care that you've been on CNN or BBC or that you're the lawyer du jour of whatever. They care about themselves and their case.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they care about is how you make them feel. If you don't make them feel comfortable, if you don't make them feel that you're knowledgeable, if you don't think that they feel that you're in control, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so you're right. When you come and you are meeting with a doctor, you're meeting with someone you're going to put your hand or your life in their hands. You want them to be like a Delta pilot, maybe not Delta pilot of late, but maybe a Delta pilot of a couple years ago, where they go, "Hi, hi, this is your captain. We had a little bump back there. You're getting jostled around. We should be landing shortly. No problem. Be out of the
Mm-hmm.
turbulence." You feel calm. You feel like they're in control. You trust them. I think the theme for it used to be when you're doing videos, be real.
Mm-hmm.
I think the mantra right now and the message for a lawyer right now is the public, the folks that are trying to hire you, they need to trust you. Trust you have the experience, trust you have the knowledge, trust that you've got the personality, trust that you're going to treat them fair, trust them there's value. And I think you do that through videos. I think you do that through social proof, with the Google review. I think that you're engaged in the practice of law, not only just in the practice that you do, but also in your community. They look at all that, and that's how they find someone that they trust.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I heard this thing recently that made so much sense, and and it kind of goes back to what you said a few minutes ago, where there's great lawyers out there that don't have successful firms just because of the fact that nobody knows who they are, right? And there's a direct correlation, or there's a law in life that people have a hard time accepting. It's you get paid more for who you are rather than what you do. And I always make the example, Kim Kardashian, I think she's going to be a lawyer. Maybe I don't think she's passed the bar yet, but imagine Kim Kardashian opens a law, passes the bar, becomes a real lawyer, passes the bar, opens a law firm right next to the average law firm's place, right? Same practice area. Who do you think's going to get more clients? Kim Kardashian or the lawyer? You know what I mean? It's like,
100%.
and
And
who's the
she won't
better
be as good a
attorney?
lawyer.
Exactly. She probably won't be. She'll probably be a terrible lawyer. I mean, I don't know her that well. I don't know her. I don't know her, but I mean, like, yeah. It's based off of her name only, and just the fact that people know who she is. Now, that's an extreme example, but like for example, you've created, I mean, hundreds and hundreds. I mean, I remember when we first started working together, you actually sent me two hard drives that were like rubber banded together, full of all the videos that you had. That's how many videos you did, which is amazing. How does that affect the sales process? So somebody comes into your office, they've seen your videos, they've read your reviews. Like there was a time before you didn't have all that stuff. What was it like then, and what's it like now that you've done all this and you've created all this goodwill in the community?
Well, I think that it is a little bit like one of these curves that goes like this and then it goes up.
Yeah.
And I think that you're planting seeds today for 5 years from now.
Hmm.
And things you're doing right now, it's the cumulative effect that you do that comes together, and it's the synergy. It's never one thing. For example, someone says, "Well, I was on a billboard for a year, I didn't get any cases." Well, you weren't on long enough.
Hmm.
And I've had billboards that have been up for 25 years. But I moved them around, and people, even though they're not up, go, "Oh, you're on billboards all the time."
Hmm.
When you're not up, they just remember that repeat. So you look at things like Google reviews connect to the social media. And the social media, you kind of go, "Why did a video?" I joked earlier at the beginning of the podcast. I did one video, didn't get any results. Well, the answer is what we do is we do a video on 5 platforms, 5 days a week.
Mm.
So that's 5 videos a day times 5 days a week times 52 weeks every day. So there's a video. Now, some of them, and then I evaluate like anything, like I take a Mr. Beast approach. How did that video do? Why did it do it? Was it the title? Was it the color? Was it the person? Was it the subject matter? The answer is if that blew up, I don't have to, and I disagree with this. If you do a video on one thing, like should I refuse a breath test if arrested? Well, if it does well, guess what? Do 20 videos just like it. Do 20
Yeah.
videos. That's your subject matter. Be the guy on that. Change it a little bit. It's okay to release one of those every week. People don't remember. You
Mm.
can do 100, and they're evergreen too. So, but I'm always looking at what connects. I do more of those. I try to do, but so the answer is you got to do videos, and it's easy to do right now in the AI age. If you can't do a video every day, you can do it. It's easy. There's 100 different platforms that will release it for you. Um, you can do. What platform do you guys use to release your videos?
You mean for our internal marketing videos or for our clients?
You said, I mean, no
Oh,
one.
good.
Who do you guys use?
Well, we use YouTube, we use TikTok, we use Instagram.
But when you schedule them, do you use a scheduler?
Well, we have a person in house that does it for us.
But I use a
So we, we use
scheduler.
we use the other AI, which is actual intelligence.
Well, but I use an AI, app.
Yeah,
We schedule ours in 30 days out, so there we find out, like, when are most folks on social media. We deliver it then.
yeah,
It's done 30 days. So I set a calendar for 30 days, set it and forget it. It's
yeah.
all going out automatically. And then I started doing the other thing I started doing is we've been doing it for a while, but we're doing much better newsletters. I send a newsletter out. We've gotten out 78,000 people in our MailChimp.
Mhm.
So they get a newsletter and something that's very interesting. I attach a video to it. That goes out every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So when you say there's not one thing, but I think it's a combination of doing a newsletter, easy to do. With AI, it writes itself. Social media posts, easy to do. You can get a college student to do it for you. You can do it yourself. AI can make the videos. You can do it yourself. You can do it with your own phone. It works out fine. It's very real. It's great. You can get someone to edit those videos pretty inexpensively. But you do all those things, plus you live on your GMB site. You get that optimized.
Hmm.
Even if you didn't at a horrible website, you're still going to do well.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one thing we're talking about is we're talking about doing a lot of activities, marketing wise, right? But there's probably people watching right now that are saying, "Yeah, this is all great, but I have to run a law firm, right?" So how? Because you don't just end up in the situation you're in by accident, right? I always somebody said one time like nobody got rich by accident, right? So like how did you intentionally structure, like even when you kind of knew this is the way you want to go, how did you structure your business and structure your firm so that you could focus on the working on the business rather than the working in the business?
Um, it's a daily struggle.
Mm,
It's a daily struggle. I mean, you're juggling cases, you're juggling clients, you're juggling past clients. You got the people that come to your position where you are and say, "I only want to work with Andy." You
mm,
go, "Oh, I'm just only got so many hours in the day."
yeah.
Um, so it's a struggle. I think the key to it, and I've got one word, and that is systems. If you don't have good systems, it doesn't work.
Hmm.
You've got to work really hard to put those systems in place, whether it's someone that you pay to post videos, whether it's someone that you pay when you get a Google review to make sure that every Google review is responded to, whether it's someone that you pay that's going to work on your emails, on your email campaign, or put together your newsletter, or put together a social. Now, you don't have to do a big social event. I don't care what kind of law you're in. You can do something where you sponsor an event that costs you $500 and people come in and speak. You send out an invite on Facebook, people coming in. If they're giving free legal advice, people will do it. Do this. Get a tent. Go down to the sporting goods store. Get a tent. Go to a local market. Rent a space for $25, and put up a sign that says "Ask a lawyer."
That's a good
Literally
idea.
sit there.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people will come to you. Now,
Yeah.
two things are going to happen. 99% of the questions you don't know the answer.
Hmm.
But guess what? Within a short amount of time, you're going to go, "Well, I got a wills and trust guy. Go see Sue. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, there's a tax guy. Go see Bjorn." Oh,
Yeah.
and then you've got a referral network. And then you go to these people. "Hey, I'm referring to you cases every weekend because I'm at the farmer's market spending 3 or 4 hours in the sun." But you're going to meet people. And sure enough, what's going to happen is one of those guys you meet in the market, they're going to have a PI case.
Yeah.
They're going to have a nephew who's arrested. You
Hmm.
will always get the ROI back, but you've got now a network of people to refer stuff. And that's just like an easy thing to do. It's very, very inexpensive.
Yeah.
But
There's so many ideas
you
you've
got to
given
want
me.
to do it though, Andy. You got to want to do it.
The other idea that you gave me that I love, and I still tell this idea, is everywhere you go, you leave 2 business cards. Just because
Yes.
people don't, you never know who's going to need a lawyer, And the
Yeah.
cool thing is that a lot of times the tent idea, I think the simplicity of the tent idea that so many people miss. I mean, how many times have you been to a farmer's market, or they do those Saturday morning markets and stuff like that, right? And there's maybe a lawyer set up, but it'll be like John Smith, estate planning attorney, instead of a sign that says, ask me how you can make sure that if you die, the government doesn't take your stuff. It's like talking about, again, there's the thing that they actually want that maybe they weren't even thinking about, because nobody thinks, I don't need an estate plan. I'm alive. You know what I mean? I'm not old. I'm not rich. But they weren't even thinking about the fact that they need that the government could take their stuff if they die. But same thing, it's the benefit. Ask a lawyer, and it's like all these little tweaks that are just really smart, and they make a huge difference.
I love it. It's simple, simple, simple. If you died tomorrow, who would get your stuff and how much would the government get?
Exactly. How
That's
much would
it.
the
I mean,
government take?
that's it. And if you don't know the answer, you need to.
Yeah.
That's not that simple. You write it on a board, costs you $3 with a marker.
Yep.
Guarantee you, people would be lined up to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So something that you said, there's we're jumping over. There's so many things you're saying that are amazing. One thing that you mentioned was that building that referral network, right? And I think that a lot of people don't realize that you don't actually have to really spend a lot of money to get clients if you can provide value to other people, like you said, with that referral network. If you have, if you're giving you do criminal defense, personal injury, social security, disability. If you're giving a family law attorney 25 leads a week, they're going to want to reciprocate by giving you anytime there's a domestic violence case and things like, like, and how's that worked out for you? How many cases would you say you get a year based just on referrals and things like that because of the referral network you've built?
Hundreds. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, though, you need to do this. You need to find a connection to someone that you can send those cases to that like, and trust. It's going to do a good job for the folks you send them.
Hmm.
But the second thing is, this happens. You send a family law lawyer. You send them 100 cases in a quarter, and you get one case back. Then it's a conversation, maybe a
Hmm.
difficult one. Hey, Andy, I've sent you 100 cases. You sent me one case back. I really appreciate it. They're wonderful people. Here's what I need to hear from you. Do you have the opportunity to send more than one? Because if you don't, love you. You do great work. I got to find someone that I build a business relationship with.
Yeah.
I'll still send you some cases, but I need some love and I'm not feeling the
Hmm.
love. That's a simple conversation. It's not difficult
Yeah.
because you will find someone who sees the world the way that you do.
Hmm.
And then you're going to go, okay, and get some back. But if you're sending wills and trust out, family law cases out, whatever else out, medical malpractice, we don't do that kind of work.
Hmm.
Then you want to get some stuff back. Now you're going to get it back in two forms: one, a referral fee, keep track of those because you can get paid, and secondly, on cases back. And it
Yeah.
doesn't take that long. And the more, like we use a farmer's market situation or anything else, the more cases you've got coming in that you don't do, those aren't garbage. Those are opportunities for you to connect with other people, to
Yeah.
get referral sources for what you do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, one thing that you mentioned in terms of kind of building all these systems together is you mentioned systems and you mentioned find a person to do this, find a person to do this, find a person to do this, right? Now, obviously, there's the marketing side, but then there's also the law firm side, right? You got to have
Yes.
great administrative assistants, you got to have
Yes.
associate attorneys, you got to have
Yes.
paralegals. How do you find those people? Like, what is your practice of attracting people to you so that you can hire, and you got to have good employees too. You can't just hire anyone off the street, right? So how do you attract amazing people?
Well, I think you provide them with a great place to work.
Mm,
And sometimes my perception of a great place to work is not their perception of a great place to work. And I think it's more than money. One of the things that we do, which we started during COVID and we've continued, is that every Friday we shut down at 2 o'clock or 2:30.
mm,
And that's a value add. And the idea is that we also ask our employees to stay on track with Google reviews. So when a client has a great experience, we ask them to keep track of that. Provided we're on track with our Google reviews, employees get off early. We started that about 8 months ago.
mhm.
I thought maybe that people wouldn't embrace it. They've loved it. They've been part of the process. I'm happy to, because that's an extra 2 weeks off a year.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. And we want to do that. Now, I think that I'm constantly working on what we can do better for our employees. Obviously, everybody wants more money. That's number one, and you can do that to the extent that you have money coming in. The second thing you can do is provide lunches, provide experiences, to provide other things. And I want to what we used to do, which I want to get back to. We used to have, for example, every quarter a day where we took off. We cleaned our office on a Friday morning and went and played softball. Now we've not done that in a while, but I want to bring some of that back because
Yeah.
that brings that camaraderie to the office. And
Yeah.
listen, I know I can do better. I want to do better, make that better. I think it's hard to find good employees. When you find good employees, you want to retain good employees.
Hmm.
Um, and then it's interesting because when you have a good relationship with your employees, your business prospers.
Yeah.
But I will say that I feel like it's been the hardest over the last 3 years to find and retain good employees because I think there's a lot of choices out there. A lot of people want to work from home. We don't offer that,
Hmm.
that ability at our place. And I think for a while I was trying to hire people from places that allowed them to work from home versus being in an office. But I think that's changed a little bit. So I think there's more opportunities for employers to find good people out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always tell people you got to look inward first because at the end of the day, I ask the question, I'm like, what would make somebody want to dedicate 40 hours of their life every single week? Like, it's only 168 hours in a week, right? What would make somebody dedicate 25% of that to building your dream? And if you don't have an answer and a good reason that they would actually want to do that, then you're not going to attract great people because I always use the Tom Brady example. When Tom Brady left the Patriots and he went to the Bucks. First, he went to the Broncos and he interviewed there, and then he went to the Dolphins, and then he went to the Bucks, and probably a couple other places. And I would say, do you think they were interviewing him or he was interviewing them? It's like he was asking, well, should I go to Miami and win a Super Bowl? Why should I go to Denver and win a Super Bowl? Hey, Tampa, why should I come here and win a Super Bowl? Okay, I'm going to come to Tampa and win a Super Bowl. And what did he do? He won a freaking Super Bowl. So it just shows.
One of the interesting things about in his contract negotiation is that he put in his contract before he signed with the Bucks. Obviously, I'm a huge Bucks fan.
Hmm.
Is that he wanted access to all the personal cell phones of every single person in the organization.
Hmm.
They go, we don't do that. There's some privacy issues. He goes, well, that's my deal.
Interesting.
So they agreed, and he got the personal cell phone numbers of everybody in the organization. So when he started, before he started, he sent every one of them a personal text, not a group text, a
Hmm.
personal text. Hey, Andy, Tom here. Can't wait to work with you. I'm so
Wow.
excited. I want to tell you right now, we're together. We're going to build a team that's going to go all the way through. I mean, he
That's
literally texts
crazy.
his people.
Is that a true story? I've never heard that
True
before.
story. True
Wow,
story.
that's amazing. And you know what
But
else is
but
cool?
but
Oh,
but,
sorry. Go
but
ahead. Go ahead.
how about this? He meant it. How
Yeah.
about it was authentic? Let's talk about law firm. He was real and he created trust.
Yeah.
The same thing we talk about law is the same thing for NFL football.
Yeah. And you know what else he did? He brought other A players with him. Who else? I mean, Gronk came with him. Richard Sherman came with him.
Yes.
Antonio Brown came with. I mean, like that's the thing is that A players want to work with other A players. So
Yes.
it's when you look inward, it really makes a difference. So Kevin, I honestly I could sit here and talk to you for another 2 hours because there's so much great stuff. So we have to do this again for a longer period of time. But listen, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
If you found value in this podcast, here's one way I can help your firm right now. What if you could take all of our knowledge and experience helping law firms grow and use it to create a custom growth plan for your firm? I want to give you something special. I want to give you a free law firm 360-degree analysis. We usually charge $499 for this call, but you'll get it for free since you're committed to growth. Our team will walk you through the 4 steps of the law firm growth acceleration model and give you opportunities and fixes to grow your firm faster based on what we've learned across hundreds and hundreds of the fastest growing law firms in North America. Go to smbteam.com/360 to get your free analysis today.